I'll tell you what, Dave Velasquez, longtime Aztec assistant, has done such a good job over the years on the Mesa. Of course, right now, working with Brian Dutcher and his staff here, getting ready for 25-26. We're just a couple of weeks removed from the season. You can only imagine, Dave, the reaction of Aztec fans when they saw this news about Magoon Gwath withdrawing his name from the transfer portal. Yes, he could still go to the NBA draft, but if he comes back to college, he'll go back to San Diego State. My reaction was so ridiculous, Dave, that Kristen, my wife, was on the couch with me. She's like, you didn't react to this when I told you I was pregnant 6 years ago. And she was right. She was spot on. So I want to know, what was your reaction? This is such a crazy time where guys are in the portal, then they're out of the portal. What has it been like for you to be a part of what's transpired here with Magoon specifically? And thanks for hopping on.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's definitely been a learning experience. But when we found out that Goon was coming back, I mean, like you said, I think if my wife was around me, she might have said the same exact thing. I think I was more excited too. So I understand where you're coming from. We all were. And more than anything, it's, we're so excited about where Magoon was, his growth, his development on and off the court, and just to be able to be a part of it for one more year if he doesn't go to the NBA draft, and it just speaks to what our culture, what our tradition is. And, he stayed and he had a lot of offers and he had some big time offers, but he believed in our staff. He believes in San Diego State community, and he believes that this is the best place to get him ready for the next level. And it's going to be awesome to see the growth over this time. If, like I said, we're going to root for him to get to the draft, but if not, his development going into next season. I mean, he was already freshman of the year and defensive player of the year in our league. I mean, it's going to be an exciting time at San Diego State.
Where were you, Coach? Like, were you at the facility? Were you at home? I mean, this kind of dropped kind of late at night.
Well, guys, when you're involved in it, you don't get just a yes. You know what I mean? There's a lot of conversations that happen, and so, but we got to go to work on our reload campaign with Mesa. That's a real thing, and we have the reload campaign right now. We're at $320K out of $500K, and we got to get people to give. We have an anonymous matching donor that will get there if we hit that number, and that's what it is in college basketball. So for us, Mesa is as big of anything to continue to retain our players and continue to get other new players. And I can't speak on everybody, but you guys read the news. We're adding some big time pieces to this program, some pieces that are going to add value in every which way to this program, but to retain the guys we have, to keep the transfer portal quiet from our end, we need our fans, the community to step up, tell a friend, get a friend to step up and help us out.
Yeah, I do love that. Dave Velasquez with us. Again, if you want to contribute, your donation is matched going on right now, mesa-aztecs.org. So your donation is really going far right now to help keep this team together. Add to it as well, mesa-aztecs.org, to take advantage of that matching offer going on right now. I want to say, again, that this transfer portal era is relatively new, but oftentimes when players went in previously, and I'm not just talking about with San Diego State, typically you go in, you often leave. Now, I noticed in the last transfer portal window with college football, there were players going in and then returning to their teams. When Magoon went in, at that point, did you think there was a possibility to get him back or not?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I think we all did, because we knew where Magoon's heart was. We knew what his trust in us was, and he'd be a fool to not go and see what else was out there. You know what I mean? Like, to go see what it is. And, it's a business now, and fans and coaches, we all have to move on from the old days on what it was. It's never going back again, and so for him to look at what he had, and then to be able to come back and say, okay, this is exactly where I want to be. You talk about being, 10 toes down, 2 feet in the boat. I mean, that's as much as you can ever be by going in, seeing everything, and still saying, you know what, I'm staying here at San Diego State. And I think, like I said, I speak to the culture, the tradition, the Coach Dutcher, how he runs the program, how everyone in our program operates, how much his teammates mean to him, his brothers that he's with every single day. It speaks volumes. And to have his family trust us as well, not just Magoon. He's a young kid who relies on his family to help him in this process. And they, for their trust. I mean, it's everything you'd want as a coach, to be honest with you. And it was special for us to have the opportunity to possibly have him back next year.
it wasn't just Magoon last night. Miles Bird doubling down, also posting like, I am returning. Obviously, the draft process is he's going to go through it along with Magoon, but like, I am not entering the portal. I'm an Aztec for life. I mean, you got to feel as, coaching staff, just, pride in seeing that these guys are so committed to you in the NIL era. It's got to feel like, a huge win for the program.
It is a huge win. And we got to continue to get these other wins. Miles is a huge win, and he's put himself on the draft boards, and hopefully they both get invited to the combine. They get great feedback from the NBA. I think that will only help in their development over the year if they end up not going to the draft to know what they really have to work on, how the NBA sees them. And we have a lot of other guys on our team. We're hoping they probably use up to 12 scholarships, most likely, like always. We never, that 13th is not really ever used in Coach Dutcher as a head coach. So get 12 guys in here. And there's still some targets out there. And so again, that Reloaded campaign, I can't speak enough about how important that is for our fans. You see all this social media and you see all this love and I love that. And that's what makes us us in the full VAOS arena. But that comes with a price tag now. It just does. And we got to continue to support Mesa, which directly supports San Diego State basketball. And, one of the things I want to talk to you guys about today was, with Miles and with Magoon, with everything happened with him and Miles doubling down and a guy like Reese Waters and either just use the older guys, just use those three. One of the coolest things we had happen was this past weekend, it was one of our former guys, Jared Barnett. He's now a coach up at Pepperdine.
Mm-hmm.
It was his birthday in town and he got an Airbnb down at Ocean Beach. And I walked into that Airbnb on Sunday and there was Micah Parrish, Lamont Butler, Miles Bird, and Elijah Saunders.
Wow.
And to get there and to get with all them, just to know what a family, what a brotherhood we have. My kids could not be more excited to see them. They ran up to all of them. They couldn't believe what they were seeing in that room. But it's just what we have at San Diego State is so special. And, our players feel that. And they understand that it's bigger than, the dollar figure, but at the same time, they need it. Yeah, they deserve it. It's what the changing landscape. That's what it is. But what we have here speaks such volumes of when Coach Fisher got here with Dutcher 25 years ago, what you always wanted to have in a program. And this thing has gone on and on for over 2 decades now, 2.5 decades of truly family of San Diego State basketball. You've seen it at the reunions during the year, and you've seen it now, even with guys that have left the program. This is where they want to come back. Lamont played a game on Saturday night. He's in San Diego. This is home.
Yeah.
This is home, and this is family. And you can't replicate that. And it's so awesome that our current guys are starting to feel that, and I think it's something that needed to be said on how close we all are and how much bigger than basketball our program is.
It's really well said. Dave Velasquez with us right now, San Diego State, longtime assistant. Again, that matching campaign going on right now, mesa-aztecs.org to keep this team together and add to it, mesa-aztecs.org. So what is this era like when the portal is open? You've gone through it now for a couple of years. I know Dutch said, I think recently publicly, that he's as busy now as he would be in the season. Like, this is really a crunch time. I want to say the portal is open through or until April 22nd. What does that mean for you and the program and the players that were here a year ago, other than the players we've referenced here today? Like, what does this all entail over the next 20 days, roughly?
Well, as of today, I'd like to fast forward 20 days and just end it.
Yep.
Yep. Please, we're done.
Yeah, we're done. Close
done.
this thing.
As of today, we are in a great place.
Yeah,
I mean a great place. And, I think it's something that we're continuing to learn how to handle the portal. You asked, what's our thought process? After today, with the Final Four weekend, it's a dead period where you can't bring anybody on campus and you can't go visit anyone. Most of the coaches in college basketball will be heading out to San Antonio for the Final Four. But for us, we finished the visit this morning. We had breakfast looking at the water in the best city in the world. And so, we can't bring anybody in for the next few days. And, again, we're just trying to keep what we have here and add the right pieces, just not any piece, but the right pieces, add the right type of character, add the right type of players that do things that our other guys might not, or do things that can really make the other guys better. And I think that if you're really watching and you're studying what San Diego State's doing with the roster, that is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to add pieces that add value to our team in so many different ways. And part of that way being, how can they make our other team that we have here already, how can they make them better? And we're trying to do that every single day. And again, it's such a moving target for the next 22 days. And seriously, can we just get to that date and close this thing?
Yeah,
no doubt.
It sounds like you guys are very happy and pleased with where you're at. I know there's some specifics that you can't get into, but as far as, the needs for your team that you were looking at and hoping to fill for this in this portal period, what are those for this team?
Well, I think, pass first guard was the first thing that we would look for in terms of if we got a chance to get, Miles Byrd and Reese Waters back, pass first guard that plays, different than Taj, because Taj DeGorville is going to be a big time player. And then when you have guys on the wings and you can have a guy, multiple guys be able to play off ball screens in the guard spot, I think that's incredibly crucial. So we'll look for us to continue to add guys that not just play off ball screens, but can do a lot. And also just, again, early up the ball, get those guys, get Miles Byrd playing downhill, get Reese Waters catch and shoot shots, get him playing off closeouts. Like, you got to remember, Reese Waters didn't play a single game this year. The guy was preseason first team in our conference before he got hurt. I mean, he's a stud. And so, I don't need to name everyone on the roster, but that's kind of what we're looking for. And then obviously looking for a little bit, we want Magoon to help get better at the rebounding area, get Heidi to get better at the rebound area, Farrell Compton get better at rebounding, and then add another guy that could go in there and be versatile and help us rebound the ball. And also just, we got to have guys that can defend at a high level, an elite level that we defend at. And again, San Diego State is always going to be known for defense, but at the same time, we want to continue to make our offense better. And that's part of adding the right pieces to this group. And it's not just a plug and play situation. It's got to fit with everything we do in our program.
Final one for me to further the conversation on Magoon. You talked about like what's next for Magoon, but if we get to a point where he's back at the Mesa for his redshirt sophomore season, you talked about, his strength and his rebounding. What is another year of college basketball look like for Magoon? Like, where would you see that growth on the floor if you're an Aztec fan over the next 12 months?
I would say consistency. And then I would say just to overall, just a feel to how much he really can do out there. We talked about it in his redshirt year when he got to practice those last 6 weeks. He can play off ball screens. He can play a closeout. He can score inside on the block. He can push the ball in transition. Defensively, we've seen what he is. I mean, that's incredible. Defensive player of the year as a freshman, I think he played 26 total games so far, and he wins defensive player of the year. He's an elite shot blocker, if not the best in the country. So defensively, we got to continue to get him better at some things on that end. But offensively, it's just being more consistent. It's continuing to highlight all the things that he can do on the floor. He is an unbelievable basketball player on both ends, and we are so lucky to have him.
Mesa-Aztecs.org, that matching campaign supporting San Diego State men's basketball going on right now. Mesa-Aztecs.org to help keep this team together. What a 24 hours with the Magoon news and much more. If you follow it on social media, there's much more going on right now. Positive momentum with San Diego State men's basketball. So, Coach, we always appreciate you, man. We really do. We'll do it again. Hopefully this portal closes at some point sooner rather than later.
Within the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, just close this thing down. But thank you for hopping on today. I always enjoy it.
Appreciate you guys, and hopefully the Padres go 162-0 for you, John, and go Aztecs.
At this point, it seems likely.
Yeah, I mean, they're on pace for it, so
I'd be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. All right, Dave Velasquez again. He has great insight. I love talking to him about the Aztecs. He's excited.
You could tell that he is very, very happy. There are things obviously he couldn't discuss. That's why we asked him, like, what are your needs here? And he mentioned a pass first point guard. Well, that's obviously in the news today with the team getting a commit from.
We can talk about it.
We can talk about it. He can't talk about it.
Right. They added a kid, I think he's a fifth-year player from Southern California earlier today.
Yeah.
Who was at Louisiana Tech. He was third in the nation in assists per game last year. Sean Newman Jr. He averaged 7.9 assists per game. He had a 20 assist game last year at Louisiana Tech.
Is that good?
It's pretty good. 20 assist game. So they've added Sean Newman. We talked with Jeremiah Oden, who's a slasher, rebounder.
They re-added Magoon.
Adam Magoon, Miles Bird has doubled down. He already had said he wasn't going anywhere else. He said it once again. He's not going anywhere else if he doesn't go to the draft.
Reese is going to return.
So again, it's like as it sits currently, you feel really good about it. But we do know in this era,
Anything can happen.
things can change.
Yeah.
But players on the roster.
Right. But if you just read between the lines with Dave Velasquez there, very, very happy.